Hello students, I am here on the personal planning and outline assignment for your second paper. I'm going to try to do this very quickly, but I want to quickly go over the planning and how to do that. So here's my example outline. When you click here on your Google assignment, this is the same thing that you will get. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Here's mine. I made this from two articles that I believe one of them is no longer in the text. It was in their last year. So one is about the other side is not dumb. The other one is why rural America voted for Trump. So when it says what is the topic, you want to talk about the overall topic, right? So looking at the other side's political point of view is there. If you're doing one of the ones on climate change, you want to talk about how plastic is ruining the oceans, climate change, all of those bigger topics, right? What is the issue? So the controversy or the argument. In this case, the American people are not understanding the other side and are becoming more polarized. In your whatever two articles you choose, it may be something else, like the idea that we must do something about plastic, or that plastic bag bans are not the solution, right? Depends on what you're talking about. What are some of the main points of the overall issue? So that means on both sides. Trump voters and liberals see each other as stupid. No one is willing to see the other side. The two have fundamental differences. Social media perpetuates the problem, etc. So that's the kind of things you want to talk about. All the main points in the overall issue. Then you want to go through the main points of that particular article. And I put them down and then I separated them into 3 different categories. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it will help you when you try to find what these things have in common, okay? And I kind of try to get them down to 3 main things, right? We don't listen to the other side. All of this is not political correctness, but rather we live in a social media echo chamber, and that she implores us to be curious and seek out our opposite, right? So those are the 3 main ideas there. And then I go and I do the same thing for the other article, right? Here's the main ideas. Here I separate them into like 3 different topics, right? I'm like, okay, those are 3 different topics. And then I move them down into about 4 different topics that are talked about in that paragraph. This is hard, or in that essay. This is hard. This is the real work. So even before you start the essay, this is where the essay really starts. Okay, so when I do that, I go down and I think about what do the authors have in common, right? So here are the points in common. Fundamental differences. Both sides don't understand each other. Leonard's article is an example of what Blanda discusses. All of us are surrounded by our own kind and don't mix with each other. And then you want to talk about how the author's arguments differ from each other. So I go down and talk about how specific they differ. What's your general reaction? And then what stood out to you about the readings? What would a naysayer say, right? For Leonard, in some ways, is the naysayer for Blanda in the particular article that I did. And then I gave you an outline for that you could use for your paper, okay? This is going to take some time. You have about 2 weeks to do this, so make sure you take that time. If you need a little bit of help, I'll do a separate video on the outline, but that's kind of the basic idea. With that, good luck on this. If it's too long for you, go ahead and watch this thing and fast forward. If it's not, watch it slowed down, and I'll see you guys online.